Hello everybody and welcome back to episode 2 of No Limits. We're here again in the Japanese mountains, exactly where we left off, and I'll show you what we did in the last episode before we get into this episode. The first thing we made was a fish shop over here, sort of like a restaurant diner kind of thing, where we've got the interior also mostly done, as well as a top floor in here with even more seating. And the second thing we made was this curved building over here, taking us from this street here onto the sort of square area with the alleyway going down that way. This building turned out really well. I think it's a lot bigger than a lot of the other builds, so it takes up obviously a lot more space and also needs a lot more detailing, but I think it's looking pretty good. Now this episode, there's a couple things I want to be focusing on. The first thing is going to be making a hotel kind of building on the left. We're going to have rooms up there, a curved roof sort of edging down, as well as the front entrance here with potentially some pools or something at the back that are kind of frozen over. I think that would be pretty cool. On this side, I want to make a sort of arcade. I really think an arcade in a Japanese kind of a street would look really cool. So I've tried to make this almost look like a curved bit of glass, and we're going to just fill this top floor with arcade machines and then have an entrance here with potentially a cafe in it, something like that. And as for this purple thing in the middle, it's probably going to be just like a advertisement board, but I want to try and connect all of these with like iron bars or something to make it look like it's hanging down in the middle, so that it's not integrated into any of the buildings or obstructing any views. And also, when you come all the way up this way and you look down, you can see the purple from all the way over here, which I really like. And the other thing we have to do is terraform this area up to the land up here to make sure that it's linking up nicely and we're not getting any sort of overhangs like this that we already have. I want to try and make this look as natural as possible. So without further ado, let's get started. So with this build, I really tried to keep one colour instead of changing all the time. So you can see in the other builds, there's a lot of different colours and palettes that I've used and really blended them together, and it looks a little bit messy at times. But with this one, I've really tried to make sure that I'm keeping the same colour scheme and the same theme going through the whole thing, trying to make it as plain as possible. It's not anything too special, it's just going to be an apartments building. So I don't want it to have anything over excessive that it doesn't need. Here you can see some of the windows are being coloured in white. I had a look on Google Images just around Japan, and a lot of the buildings seem to have white interiors with the wall paint, so I tried to implement that little bit of detail into the build here. Here you can see there's a balcony being made. This is just so that somebody can sit out on the porch and enjoy the nice view of people walking around the town, so whether they enjoy that or not is completely different. Over here you can see again I'm filling in the floor. I didn't get to interioring this, but I did decide that I'd do a floor just in case I do get around to putting something in the middle, but I'm not really sure whether I will get to that. There's a lot of buildings that I don't really want to interior because I don't want to provide unnecessary detail that people won't see, but at the same time I'm thinking it could be a bit of fun to put an interior in. I don't often make cities or anything really similar to that in Minecraft, so it could be a little bit interesting to see what it's like. Over here there's some sand going up at the top. It's meant to be a Zen garden, I think it's called. They often have sand in them, and you can see here I add a little bit of water to that left part along with some bamboo and some plants, and then sacrifice one of the pieces of bamboo for a poor little bench there, so that ends up looking really nice. But yeah, I think this build overall turned out alright. I'm really happy with the look of it, and yeah, I'm really pleased with the outside, the inside, all looking good. And just like that, build number 1 is complete. I absolutely love how this thing looks, and it's been really difficult to make something like this because I'm so used to using so many different colours and trying to implement so many different textures and things. But with this one, it's sort of just, it's brown terracotta and brown concrete, and they're the only two things on here, as well as a little bit of wood, some signs around just for that little bit of detail. And these are, I believe, mushroom blocks, which look really good with brown, as well as the stone up there on the sides. So I've not done an interior yet because I didn't want to waste too much time on things inside. So for the moment I've gone with just the outside and the top, which again, this is sort of like a Japanese, I think it's called a yen garden or a Zen garden or something. I think yen is the currency they use. I don't know, something. I've not researched enough into this, but it's meant to be one of those gardens that you get with the sand and bamboo and sugarcane as well, which looks really good in this this biome. And then on this side bit, I really tried to go with that kind of more industrial city-like apartment buildings. So these are supposed to be some kind of windows, but obviously there's no windows in there. So they're not so much a practical purpose, but I think it looks really cool on the side and adds a bit of texture. And as for the front, it's again, I've blacked out the window. Well, I say blacked out, they've kind of been whited out of the windows, and I've just added glass in the front just to make them a little bit more realistic. The only problem is I can't add glass without, you can see it attaching to the glass at the back, or the white block at the back, which is a bit annoying. But from far away, it's kind of hard to tell, and I don't think it makes too much of a difference anyway. So I'm really happy with this. I'm sort of thinking a little bit more of implementing this style into this build, but I know that this one already is going to be much more difficult, so I really hope this comes out well, because this one is going to be almost a party piece when you walk down here. Really, this is going to be the first thing you look at. It's going to be a really kind of boring old apartment building matched with a super light and a bright arcade building. So yeah, I really hope this turns out good, but yeah, let's see how this goes. This build overall was one of the hardest builds I've had to put together, I think, for this series. It's really difficult to get together two totally different styles. You can see here you've got the concrete and the magenta, and it's all coming together with this sort of darker themes around it. I mean, even here you can see the builds to the left and the right are very dark. You've got the darker nether brick, you've got the spruce, and then there's the note blocks towards the top, and blending that in, as well as the mountains behind it, which are also dirt. Blending that all in together with the brighter colours is really, really difficult. But towards the end, I saw this problem after looking at it for a little bit, and I added a little bit more stone to kind of blend the two colours together. I find that the stone seems to blend really well with the spruce, as well as blending really well with the brighter concrete. So here I'm just filling in the back. I'm not doing too much detailing towards the back for reasons that I will say a little bit later on. It's mostly just because I don't want to have to detail the back and then have to remove all of it when I put a building right up next to it. So it's kind of saving me a little bit of effort in the long term. And then over here I'm trying to figure out some kind of lighting to do on the inside, but lighting a build like this is really, really difficult. The way I wanted to do it was have coloured lights. So imagine if you could get a sea lantern and then put a piece of glass over it and change the colour of it. That's exactly what I'd want for this, but unfortunately we don't have that feature in Minecraft just yet, so I had to just go with the regular sea lanterns. I added white on the left just to add a bit more colour to the build. I thought it was a little bit excessive having the concrete everywhere, and then you can see here I wanted to add a sort of area where you can walk up and maybe order some food or something towards that side area with the quartz sort of hanging off from the build. And then I did the same thing on the right hand side with the copper. That's supposed to be another area where you can walk up from the outside and get something to eat. I added a little table, you can see on the right with the dark oak, and then now I'm just filling in the inside. I'm trying to make the floor the right colour, and I'm adding a lot more black concrete just to make sure that it looks like there's something on the inside, or at least that it's blackened out from the outside. I added some banners a little bit earlier on at the front so that it looks a little bit more like a comic stand, so what you'd have outside of a typical arcade. And you can see on the left I'm just going through this detailing process of adding hoppers, I'm adding grindstones, I'm adding nether brick fences, there's observers, there's blast furnaces, tripwire hooks, chains, all of the above are just going absolutely everywhere. And that's something that you'll see a lot through this theme, is when I walk through the town you're going to see all of these sort of detailing blocks just all over the place, and it really helps to add that little bit of extra detail to the build. At the top I've added daylight sensors everywhere. I love how daylight sensors look in this kind of theme. I think the wood looks really, really cool. It's kind of that typical Japanese style house where you can see the wood is sort of like cut up almost like chocolate is, and it looks really, really nice on the roof. And here I'm just adding banners. Again, I think banners are kind of the secret to this kind of theme, making everything look really, really cool. But yeah, it's all come together really, really nicely. Okay, building 2 is complete. Well, for the most part. Obviously the inside is again not finished. I have not done the inside of this at all. I've not really done the back end as well. The back is kind of still staying the same. And the front though is looking really, really cool. I must admit, when I started building this, I wasn't 100% on the design. I really wanted to just tear it down because I had shaders on and this glass looked really, really strange with the lights. and I had snow, and it was really really awkward, and I didn't know if I wanted to keep it or not. But after the detailing process, I think it doesn't look too bad. I really like the banners on the side of the building. I think they look really, really cool with this arcade design, as well as the leaves that are sort of all over the place. I think these drip leaves and the acacia leaves look really, really nice all over the place. The other thing I did was add lots of air conditioning units at the top. There's probably a bit too many, but I think seeing as it's an arcade building, I thought it would make sense to have a lot more on top of it than there has been with any of the other ones. But yeah, I think this is looking really, really cool. I think that altogether, this could have gone a lot worse. I think as I said, when I first started building it, I was very, very 50-50. I almost wanted to tear the whole thing down and just lose the glass at the front entirely, but I don't mind it. I think overall it looks alright. The other thing again I had to do was think about a door design, and again I can't just use regular doors because they don't really fit. So I've had to kind of use glass and these glass panes to make it look like there's a big kind of modern glass door that brings you into this huge arcade with all the lights, which I haven't actually. A little bit strange, but altogether, I think it's become one of the better builds in the town. The other thing I wanted to mention is you may notice that on both builds here, as well as this one, the back hasn't been done at all, and there's a good reason for that. A lot of the time, when you're building, or when I'm building in a style like this, you're going to have a lot of buildings that are going to be right next to each other, and it's a bit of a waste of time to build a really, really nice exterior on this side and then just have a building like right next to it and you have to tear it all off. So I've left these as they are because I'm pretty much guaranteed to have another building over here, another building over here, and then probably one behind here as well. So I don't want to finish the building completely until I know what I'm doing with the area. But yeah, I think again overall it's turned out all right. Now, last but not least, we need to tackle the railings and the kind of branches that are going to come off of this advertisement board. So we've obviously got this one in the middle. We're going to have to find a way of sort of hanging this down in the middle. And then, I don't know if you've ever seen a basketball, some of the basketball arenas or stadiums they have the scoreboard in the middle that's hanging off the middle. That's kind of what I want it to look like, but instead of a result on there or like a score, it's just going to be advertisements or banners or something. Over here with the wool, I think this is going to be something similar, but I just wanted to add a little bit more of this kind of thing that you can see here with the fences. I want to add that over this side. I think that would really add to the style, because if I take all of this away, you can see here it's way too open. Like, I really like that you can walk through here and it's kind of like hard to see up. But as soon as you come out here, it's like it's all gone. So I'm gonna have to definitely add some kind of fencing going across here to make it look like kind of wiring over here. Okay, we are back, and I don't know what I think. I'll be honest, I don't know what I think of this. I think it's nice, but it looks a bit, I don't know, there's something off about it to me. I don't know how much I like it. I think the problem I have at the moment is that there's a gap here, and a gap here, and a gap here, and they're way too big. I did try having these trapdoors go all the way across, but it looked too square. So I've left it at the. I'm quite happy with the arch. I think the arch there is fine, and I think that this is fine. But I'm not sure about the gaps. I don't know what to do about the gaps. I'm just gonna have to leave it for the moment because I don't really know what to do with there. The other thing that I've done is I've added this part over here, which is basically a continuation of what happened here and here. And I've just moved over it. In fact, this one's a lot more complex than the other ones are. This one's pretty much just the fences, whereas this has got the trapdoors as well as the signs, chains. But yeah, I think this is looking decent. We've made a lot of progress in today's episode. I'm really happy with how much has been added on to the town here, and I think we're really heading on to something that has a lot of potential. I think once we expand on this direction, and then obviously we've got the two ways over here, I think it's going to do really, really well. The other thing that I like is I've sort of unintentionally made an almost crossroads type of thing. I don't know if I can actually have a walkway go down here. This might feel a bit narrow, but I've got one down there, I've got one straight ahead of you, there's one down there, and then you've got the way you came in. So there's obviously going to be a lot of different options here for where we want to build next. I'm leaning towards over here. I want to get a building over here, and I really want to do some terraforming over here, but that will have to be for next episode. I also want to build over this part. I want to get this side all done, and I also want to move away from the town and up into the mountains a little bit to try and do some things over there. Another thing, just before we end, there's another thing that we need to do over here. We need to sort out these caves, because some of the textures over here and some of the stone is a little bit too jagged. And whilst I really do like this pillar here, there are some of them that it's so obvious it's been used with World Edit, and this is just so messy. And obviously down here this is messy, the water's really messy. We're going to have to clean that up. But yeah, I think overall we're looking pretty good. But that's going to be the end of this episode today, guys. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, make sure you hit that subscribe button, as well as that bell icon so you never miss a video. Let me know what you think of this area. I'm really unsure of what I think of the place. I think that this is going to have to change up here, but I'm not too sure what to do with it yet. I'm really happy with the 2 buildings. We just have to decide what we want to do with this place. That's going to be it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode.